One problem though, because people are always saying, always look at the print quality and stuff. There are some legitimate companies like Universal Laser, May-I, and Fortune Star, I think it is, in China. These are legitimate companies that license these movies.
Godzilla.
Their DVDs have really bad covers, and a lot of times they take a transfer right off their Laserdisc and put it on DVD, so the transfer looks bad, but it's a legitimate thing. And there's also Madman in Australia, and they put out like the Phoenix movie and the Space Adventure Cobra movie. They're legitimate releases, but again, their print qualities are really low.
Yeah.
I mean, the quality of the films themselves are great, but the packaging doesn't.
And that's one of the reasons I'm talking about preponderance of the evidence, because if you have something that you're pretty sure Madman is a good company.
Yeah.
You can look at the print quality, but you can also look at the copyrights. You can also look at sources, whether they're trusted and non-trusted sources online, whether there's any information there about licensing, whether the credits are correct. Anything like that will help.
If you just research the company, you can know which companies license what.
And one thing I would say is I really appreciate you sharing that information, because another really big way to protect yourself is to share information with the community.
Yeah, because if you just know the companies that do license it, then you'll know that, well, okay, the quality is kind of crap, but that's just because they took it from their Laserdisc transfer or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is a lot of Korean companies that are legitimate release Region 0 stuff, and they will put Chinese subtitles, but they don't put inaccurate English subtitles.
Yeah. Someone who's producing a legitimate licensed product does usually try and make a little more effort with it.
I was just one thing. I think sometimes also they're starting to now put copyright little labels down on the bottom of some of their bootlegs. Because I've received a couple of bad copies when I've gotten through third-party users from like eBay and things like that. I've seen a couple of them where they actually stick little copyright labels down at the bottom stating that this product is copyrighted and so on and so forth, all down at the little bottom.
And the funny part about it is sometimes they mix their copyrights. And sometimes the copyright's printed very badly. But again, looking at multiple sources. And DVDs, I'm interested in what your ideas are to stay safer on those, because those are the biggest challenge that I know of. Because they are supported by such industries working to rip people off, that they're getting harder and harder to tell with time. So, do you have any more thoughts about that? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, me? Oh.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing sometimes with bootlegs is I don't think all of the bootleggers out there are intentionally trying to do something wrong, because there's some series that will never be released in the States because of, like Sailor Stars, for example. A lot of people still have that whole taboo about girls turning into guys, turning back into girls, falling in love with other girls, and the whole incest type thing like Angel Sanctuary. That was a big thing. I was surprised it even came into America. And a lot of people have that taboo that the laws will never be released here. And I think sometimes some fansubbers will make the DVDs because they want to give to the community something they'll never see. Because they think, well, this is my duty as an anime fan to give you something you'll never see before. And it's very difficult sometimes because it's a series that you want to see so entirely badly, and you don't want to pay $55 a disc, even though sometimes we do.
There's your case in point. You don't want to pay that much to see it.
And it's exactly like that. A lot of people just really feel uncomfortable and don't know what else to do, or some people don't even know about Region 2s, or they don't have an ability to play a Region 2.
Sometimes it's very hard to follow an ethical stance, but feeling uncomfortable about paying more is not enough of a reason to invalidate an ethical stance. However, here's what I would say would be another possibility that the fansubbers could do if they really wanted to do their stuff without bootlegging. You go buy the items. They release a translation. They give it to you for free on the web. Then they are not receiving any money, they are doing their productive work, and they are not violating an ethical constraint.
So, if I buy a Region 2 DVD, I can request a translation with it? Or
If a fan subber wanted to be purely ethical about what they were doing, that would be a way that they could do it.
One
Okay.
website does it. Anime Suki, I believe, is the website.
yes.
Well, there's like a fan subgroup out right now that does scripts for Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds that you can just take it when the DVDs come out next week in Japan, or you can just take the script and burn it.
Yeah, I'm not happy to have 5Ds in
And
the house.
we have two opposite spectrum things here. We've got some people that are getting these things because they don't want to wait. And they
Right.
may have plenty of money, they may be a big collector, but they don't want to wait for it to come out here. And then on the other side of the spectrum are the people who just can't get the resources to be able to put it together. There are ways that we really could work together as a community to make ethical solutions to that. And then the other thing I would say for people who can't afford to buy it in the US, it's why Netflix exists.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like for one thing, I usually use fan subs to determine if a series is worth buying. Like for
Right.
a Sentai and Kamen Rider series, I'll download the fan subs. If they're good, then I'll buy the Region 2s from Japan since they won't be released in the States. Or like say Death Note, I watch the fan subs and then buy them as they come out.
That you're on an ethical sliding scale. If you get one or two to see if it's good and then you go buy it to support it, you're not going as far on that scale as you get the entire series to see if it's good and you'll buy it to support it as soon as you get some money if you get around to it.
Right.
Which is unfortunately the majority of our population's responses to things because you have no critical urgent need to get something that you've already seen.
Like for example,
Right.
this series called Bacano. Funimation license. I watched the first 2 episodes fan subs. It's like, okay, I'll just wait till it comes out on DVD and watch it.
Did I see your hand over there anywhere? Was there motion or was that just sitting down? Okay.
I just want to say, you're talking about subjects that submit the series that'll never come over here, like she was saying, Sailor Moon, Sailor Stars. I have a very nice 4-disc set, HK set with, fan sub-based subs. And the thing is, stuff like that will never be released over here, and I have absolutely no ethical or any other problems with getting that. There's certain,
I
like
have
you
no
said
ethical
here,
problems with getting that from the legitimate
like you said.
providers in Japan.
just like the said, read or die here.
Or legitimate providers in Australia or other
Just let me
sources.
say, instead of read or die, I have the R1s, okay? But like I said, there were a couple series that I have that, on the subject of fan subs, there's something I downloaded called Maho Shoujo Kai, aka Queenie Witches. I saw that, and as soon as I found out Lee Blasters was releasing it in R1, I went out and bought it. And sometimes the fan subs will lead to R1, so you
Yeah.
can't condemn fan subs and HKs out of
I'm
hand.
not
You can't do it.
condemning across the board. The problem is the people who watch them need to live up to the ethic that is behind them. Many of the fan subbers release these things in full faith that people who like the show will go out and support it. Unfortunately, the numbers frequently don't show that that's what happens.
Well, I like what Gonzo's been doing now. They've been putting their newer series out on YouTube subtitled.
That's cool.
Well, some fan summers will actually put on their releases, do not buy or sell this. This is a free translation.
And then a lot of them will cancel, like Gankutsu. They were up to episode 23 when getting announced the license, so pretty much every fan subber
And they
dropped
stopped.
it right then and there.
Exactly.
Right.
I know
Yes.
they had 1 episode to go.
I see a lot of other
Right.
things which can indicate a very ethical person. Like, if you have someone that is having you pay postage and the amount that you're paying is exactly what that postage is, versus someone that if they're saying, I'm just doing this as a service to the community and they just sold you a tape for $18.
$10 shipping with a $1.50 stamp.
Yeah. I love the people who do that on eBay with non-bootleg
Or the ones
stuff.
that reverse
but
it, the shipping cost is actually the cost of the item, and the amount they're charging you is the shipping cost.
Yeah, and that's something people will do that on eBay, even with stuff that has nothing to do with pirated or bootleg goods. But that's just somebody that's trying to rip you off.